All right. The time is 6:30 and a quorum being present, I call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. They are for October 16th, 2024, December 11th, 2024, and January 8th, 2025. Do we have any discussion on those on those meetings? Not hearing anything, could I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right. Next item is agenda item A, request for a certificate of compliance. Dylan Coster, 16 Shawshene Ave, Assessor's Map 112, Lot 69. Is there anybody here for that? Could you just come up and introduce yourself for the record?
Hello, I'm Dylan Coster. I'm the owner of 60 Shawshene Avenue.
I think you may have turned.
Hi, I'm Dylan Coster. I'm the owner of 60 Shawshene Avenue.
All right, thank you. And so could you just kind of walk us through the project so far? You're wanting to close it out?
Yeah, we're looking to close out the project. We had a modular home built and set. It came in March. We finished, got our building, essentially our certificate of occupancy in November. However, we got delayed with kind of the final landscaping, so we couldn't finish the loom. It got too cold, but we do plan to finish it this spring and hydroseed it and kind of complete the project and finish it off.
All right. So I'm looking at in the, what is it called? The photo log. Mm-hmm. The last one is, the last picture, photo 6, is the, it's basically the water coming out of the gutter into, some rocks, but then it quickly, erodes the dirt right there. I take it with the weather that hasn't.
Yeah. So we put stone in the back where one of the gutter comes out, so that kind of helped and aided in some of the erosion, if you will. It's all sand over in that area, so obviously it's pretty soft and just pretty wet over there. And then in the front, we have it draining. We weren't approved for any Cultec systems or whatnot, so we just kind of went with the gutters and the proposed locations.
All right. So the backyard, that's my only concern is that, that's already starting to erode. So I guess I want you to be cautious that, like, I'm not opposed to, approving this tonight. I'm not sure how the rest of the commission feels. But like, if that does become a problem and there's continual runoff, like it seems like it's directly into the wetlands, if we find out about that, we're going to have to take action and stuff. So it's just so you're aware that, it has to get done.
Some of the wall we got approved, there's a 4-inch lip on the blocks. So I think once we have some loom over there, I don't think it's going to erode. And we put stone in the back as opposed to some of the sand and loom. So in the back entire strip, it's all stone. So that should help with the drainage as well.
So Dan, why would we approve this tonight and not wait till the loom's in? Does it need to be approved tonight?
So it doesn't need to be approved. I believe they still have almost 2 years on this. I'm just looking at it as like most people are gonna, put grass in and that's gonna stabilize it. So I trust that people are gonna do that on average. If there's any concern, like, I don't see any harm in continuing this until everything's been done, but, I'll go with the motion of the commission.
I think that, it's whatever the commission wants to do. The commission can also, give a conditional, I'm so forgetting the word for it, but there's like a conditional, you can have conditions that go on past, so you can issue like a partial certificate now and have them come back if that's something the commission is more comfortable with. But if not, I think it's, it's whatever the commission wants to do.
Well, I personally would like to see it stabilized and some grass there before I approve.
All right.
Because that right there looks like a culvert in the making.
Well, what photo, can you guys share the photo that you're looking at? Don't mind.
Let me see if I can blow
We
it.
just didn't want to deviate from the plan that was proposed to put any systems in place or whatnot. It wasn't approved. And I really don't think you can put a system in between that wall. It'd probably fall out the wall if you. put a
It's
system
the
there.
last one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, and we couldn't deviate from grade. We tried, and the building department wouldn't let us. We were going to pick up grade over there and level it out, but what was proposed, they wanted to stay. So we went with what was proposed on the grade. So we couldn't truck in any fill because of the wetlands, so that's kind of what was approved. So that's what we went with.
All right, so I guess, right now, two
Yeah.
people would like to wait until it's actually stabilized.
Yeah, no
Dennis, if you have any feelings, by all means. But like, I'm now kind of leaning
Yeah.
towards, continuing this until it's been, that's been stabilized.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
guess before we do anything, I just have a question about the propane tank. That's
Yep, yeah.
been buried in the ground. What was that process? That's just,
So no gas on the street, so we had to go with propane, and we just buried it to the side over there. And I believe Joe,
That permitted?
yeah, Joe Fontaine, it was permitted, the fire department signed off.
Okay, all right.
So,
Is that for a fireplace?
no, that's just to heat the home. Yeah, so it's baseboard heat, so there's no gas on the street. The gas stops over on, I believe, Vale. So instead of pulling it down, we just went with propane. So it was either that or put it above ground.
Yeah, the only thing I can say about the gutter runoff is maybe we put some stone there to reduce the velocity
Yeah,
of the
definitely.
runoff.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
nothing
Yeah, no, definitely nothing crazy, but
extravagant,
no, I agree. It's
it
just,
won't have that if you absorb some of that
Right.
velocity.
yeah, no, we could definitely around the gutters make
Yeah,
it just a larger.
that's basically, I think.
Yeah, totally.
so I guess what I'm going to propose is, like, instead of, dragging you here in 8 months or whatever, would the commission be comfortable if he just submits photos and another site visit to confirm, and then, what's that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Let's make it easy.
I guess another question too I had, would you guys be opposed to, if you did want those gutters, would you want them tied into the wall and daylighted out to this wetlands, or?
That's what
So you
we
could do,
discussed.
that's the only other way I could
Yeah.
think, but.
Is that, we,
I don't know if we can discharge,
it's not, it's,
I mean, because you do have contaminants from I assume it's an asphalt fiberglass roof.
yeah,
So that would be I would have to say.
I don't know if we're,
I don't think you're allowed to do
yeah.
that.
All right, so,
But we could do stone, like, that's
Yeah.
easy enough.
Well, I'm just saying at the base of
Oh, yeah,
it,
totally.
just slow
No, I
it
agree. Yeah,
down, get some
definitely.
grass there,
Yeah.
and then we'll never talk again. Right.
Exactly, no, yeah, definitely.
all right, so I think, yeah, if we're all comfortable, we can, I guess I'll entertain a motion to continue this request until when do you think?
As soon as the weather breaks, we're ready, we can do it and get it done.
So what do you think, June? Because we want to get some growing in there.
June works,
Grass,
June
yeah.
works. And we'll keep all the erosion control in place at the bottom of the hill, so that's all still in place.
Perfect.
So,
All right, so could I have a motion to continue this request until the first meeting in June with the understanding that the applicant can submit paperwork and another site visit?
I make that motion as discussed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
have a good one.
All right. This next one is a public hearing, request for determination of applicability, Marina Yokin, 44 California Road, Assessors Map 82, Lot 19. Is there anybody here for that? And could you just introduce yourselves for the record?
My name is Juan Baez. I'm co-owner of 44 California Road.
Marina Joaquin, also co-owner of 44 California Road.
Thank you. All right, so can you walk us through this project?
Currently we have about 5 trees, 5 to 6. There's like a cluster in one area that's a little tough to count. But about 5 to 6 trees that we want to remove, like really tall, like probably 60-foot evergreens. They're probably only 10 or about 15 to 20 feet from the house. So we've just been essentially getting pummeled by like very large branches. We did have a windshield accident on my fiance's vehicle where, probably about like a 3-foot branch came down, made a huge spiderweb crack. So it's just been a lot of hazard. And even too, as of probably 1 to 2 weeks ago, we just had like probably about a 6-foot branch come down like 30 feet from one of the evergreens in the back, and just crashing right in the center of our yard, like where we let our dog to go to the bathroom. So there's just been, like a lot of concern and worry, especially with these windstorms.
All right, so I will be honest, and this is not like what I ideally like to see. There's a lot of trees coming down right now, and I totally understand that, like, you've had multiple times where branches have fallen. My concern right now is that, like, the more trees that are being taken out, that's going to lead, it seems that's the pattern, is that when you take down a tree, the trees next to it end up dying, and those have to be taken out. And this, your house is in, it's really close to the wetlands. It's as pretty much as close to the wetlands as I think we've ever allowed. So I this is like, I get that it's a safety concern, and there's already been trees taken out with a special permit and stuff. I want this to stop at this point. Like, I don't know how the rest of the commission feels, but it's kind of like, at some point, you have to recognize that you live out in the woods and that there's trees around, and our job here is to protect the wetlands. And it's like, the more we're changing the area immediately next to the wetlands, the more we're affecting the wetlands. Yeah. And that's just, I don't want to see, this being a continuing, right now it's these trees, and then in a few months it's another set of trees, because these look like, this set of trees, they look pretty healthy to me. There's one or two that, kind of are iffy, and that's not the emergency cert ones, but these aren't really, they're tall trees, but they're not, they don't seem unhealthy in, most ways. So I guess I'll entertain a motion to to, for a negative determination, but like, this is just, it's frustrating to see so many trees being cut down like this, where not all of them seem to be, dead or dying at this point. So that's my mini rant. I hope I don't mean to be rude or anything. I get that it's, your house, you want to enjoy your yard. I don't want to, prevent you from doing that, but like, it is our job here to protect the wetlands, and this is that borderline of, I'm not sure how much we can, continue saying that we're protecting the wetlands by, destroying the immediate surroundings and stuff. So I guess I will open it up to anybody else on the commission, or entertain a motion for a negative determination.
The 3 trees in the, what's it, a paper road there?
Yeah.
What's the reason for taking them?
So with those ones, it's just like with a lot of the branches falling, and just because like the proximity, like with all the other trees around it, like we don't have any objective to try to cut more trees further. Like honestly, like we love the look, we love the aesthetic and the fact that also just the health that it brings to the surrounding land. So like we, didn't come in with any objective to try to remove like more trees. But yeah, just because of the proximity of those is what really concerns us, because when a lot of those branches are, just with a minor breeze, they're hitting the side of the house, and I just didn't think it would be like that close. So that's like the only, concern. So then like I'm even afraid to kind of go out there with my dog or let my dog out there. Like it's just, yeah.
And speaking of the paper road, there's a special condition about that, just so, because I forget exactly how it works. I think your property line extends to halfway through the paper road, and
Yeah.
the neighbors also does the same thing. So we had that issue.
We did talk that.
Yeah.
And that was
forget.
regarding landscaping on that road.
Yeah, and that was just like, we were, to back up, there's another house that had a paper street next to it, and we were just concerned about whether they had the right to do the landscaping on the paper road. It turns out, you do have the right. I'm assuming nothing, it's the same situation, that, it's a paper road, it's there, it's kind of has its own annoying legal matters, but it's overall, you're allowed to, do what you want with that. It's not an actual road at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of here nor there, though.
Yeah. No, thank you for the context, though.
All right. Before we continue, I'm going to read out the special conditions. All right, so conditions include: the applicant shall install and maintain perimeter controls around the area of work to prevent the deposition of debris into nearby resource areas. Perimeter controls shall remain in place until all areas of erodible materials have been stabilized at the site. These controls shall act as a limit of work. No equipment can be stored or work be done past that point. Prior to any construction activity commencing, the following must be completed: ESCs shall be installed by the applicant or an agent of the applicant, and the conservation agent shall inspect and approve of the installed ESCs. And if the construction machinery remains on paved roads, paved areas, no ESCs are necessary. So just, if you can prevent the truck coming in and actually going onto the ground,
Yeah.
keep it on the street or in the driveway. I don't think it makes sense for it to be in the driveway, but if it can stay on California Road, then you don't need to install the the ESCs and stuff.
Okay.
So, and then 3, prior to the end of activity, all exposed soil must be stabilized, and this is the one for the California Road. A copy of, this is the one for the paper street. A copy of the approved plans must be sent to the homeowner at 42 California Road, and a signed affidavit from the homeowner of 42 California Road must be sent to the Conservation Commission prior to the removal of any trees. So that's because there's that shared property boundary. We just want to make sure that this, is, okay. They're not going to have any issues with that.
Okay, yeah. Is that like a consent form? Like,
Yeah, it's an affidavit, so they essentially, consent.
okay.
I'm not sure if it's consent. I don't want to use that language, but it's an affidavit. All right. So it's an RDA, it's a public hearing. If there's anybody in the public who would like to make a comment, now is the time to do so. If there's nobody there, I'm not seeing anybody. Could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Can I make that motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And could I have I'll entertain a motion for a negative determination of applicability for this project as discussed.
I'll make that motion as discussed.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
right,
And
thank you very
just to be aware, negative determination is positive for you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pretty bad, a negative is positive.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Agenda item C is public hearing, notice of intent, Andrew Stack, Whipple Road, Assessors Map 31, lot and map, this may have gotten messed up. Map 31, that's the Whipple Road right-of-way, DP file number 305-1209. Yeah, right there. That camera should pick it up pretty. If anybody gets up, then I'll ask you to move it, but we don't have a huge crowd today, so. Okay. Could you just introduce yourself, and then the floor is yours.
Yes. So good evening, Mr. Chairman and the Commissioners. Thank you for having me. My name is Kevin Carter. I am a registered professional engineer in the state of Massachusetts. I work for GCG Associates out of Wilmington. I am here tonight representing the applicant, which is the Tewksbury Department of Public Works, the engineering department. Our client is Andrew Stack. Tonight I'm here to present the project that we filed a notice of intent on for the proposed Whipple Road sidewalk project in town. So tonight I've brought a plan this is the same plan that I sent that was in the notice of intent application. I've turned on the orthographic image just to help kind of lay of land. I have copies if anyone would like a smaller 11 by 17 for reference.
I'm sorry, what was
I have copies of this if you'd like if everyone's all set. Okay. So today I wanted to talk to you about this project, the proposed work. The proposed work is expected to take place within the 100-foot buffer, the 50-foot no build, and the 25-foot no disturb. And the site was flagged by Norse Environmental. We've provided their report in the notice of intent application. They flagged 4 series of wetlands. 3 were border vegetated wetlands on the western side of Whipple Road, and the 4th was a bank for an intermittent stream on the eastern side up at the intersection of Pleasant Street and Whipple Road. So tonight I'm presenting the portion of the project that stretches within the buffer zone. It starts at Pleasant Street and goes about 1,500 feet up to the southern side of Ferncroft Road, about 200 feet past Ferncroft Road. Approximately 900 feet of that area is within the buffer zone and the no build and no disturbance. Starting at the Pleasant Street intersection, that is where we are within the 25-foot no build. We propose to tie into the existing sidewalk on Pleasant Road. This project, what we're proposing is a bituminous walkway with vertical granite curbing. What we've done with our design is we have tried to maximize the space of the walkway between the resource areas as much as possible. So down by the Pleasant Street intersection, where we're within the 25-foot no disturbance. The actual road is in the 25-foot no disturbance. So we have kept the walkway as tight as possible to the edge of the road. And to minimize the impervious area on this, we're really limited to what the right-of-way is and what the edge of the road is. What we've done is areas where the road was wider, we've tried to make the road more uniform, both from a traffic standpoint and also it minimizes the increase in impervious area. The increase is minimal. It's about 910 feet. It's less than 0.1 acre for the project. So as we move our way towards South Ferncroft Road, what we've tried to do is in areas where the right-of-way allows us, we've put a 3 to 4 foot wide grass strip to help any runoff just infiltrate through the grass area. Pretty much, I would say, from a stormwater runoff standpoint, we've been able to minimize any increase in peak flow. What we've done is we've installed 3 catch basins with 3 manholes. All the catch basins would be deep sump catch basins with hoods for pretreatment, so that the water would be treated prior to entering the existing drainage system. Tonight, we're here to request a waiver from your bylaws under public, this project being under public good. This project, what we're trying to do is, provide an accessible route on a major street in town. And also, we've included in the plans, you can see there's a rapid flashing beacon with a crosswalk at Ferncroft Road over to the parking lot of Long Pond, giving pedestrians access to, a popular place for people in town to go to.
That was one of the things I was going to ask is about a crosswalk, because that area, I know it's 25 miles per hour, but people don't always drive 25 miles per hour right there. So yeah, a flashing, it's not really our purview, but a flashing crosswalk is greatly appreciated right there.
We did look during the project, just for your knowledge, we looked at multiple locations for that crosswalk. And based on site distances, this maximized the site distance for the area from all different sides of the intersection. Because like you said, I know that road is, we just did the water main project out there. People drive fast.
All right. Yeah, so it's not at Pleasant Street, it's at Ferncroft, but all right.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Because at Pleasant Street, the site distances were less as you get towards that intersection with Pleasant and Whipple. It's kind of like that triangular intersection a little bit. Sorry, I forgot to mention all catch basins obviously would have silt socks in them, silt sacks, and then we would have straw wattle silt socks protecting the resource areas.
And I know you mentioned it, but what did you say the total, I think square footage of the sidewalk?
Yep, it's under 0.1 acre, so about 910 feet linearly by 5 feet. We've done 5 feet just to keep ADA accessibility everywhere, providing handicap ramps and, providing access around all the utility poles and other structures out there now.
And just to be clear, this is on the other side of the Long Pond parking lot and the opposite side of DPW. So it's just for the many people listening at home, it's sidewalks on the opposite side of the street from those.
Hence the crosswalk.
Yeah.
All right, it seems pretty straightforward. Abigail, I don't see any orders of condition.
I just realized I didn't include them, but the only ones that I wrote were erosion and sedimentation controls around the areas of work that include silt socks and, silt fencing and straw wattles.
All right. Are you comfortable with?
Yeah, would you prefer, sorry, would you say silt side? Would you want, sorry.
I had proposed silt fencing,
Okay.
entrenched silt fencing, and staked straw wattles.
Okay, would you prefer that instead of the silt socks, is what the silt fencing?
No, the silt fencing, as I proposed the silt fencing to be like around the wetland area
Okay,
during that construction, just to prevent erosion from getting
okay,
into the.
yeah, we can add that, yeah, that's fine, we can add that for the final plan set.
All right, this is a public hearing. Actually, before we, just
I ask
any
one
other discussion from the commission before I open it up to the public?
I have none.
I'm good.
Could I just ask one question? So with the silt fencing, so a lot of the straw wattles that we had proposed were on the western side, which is where no construction's happening, because that's where the majority of the wetlands are. For the silt fence, is that specific to at the Pleasant Street, like, intersection area, or? Just because we're going to, so all the work will be taking place on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
So there really shouldn't be any runoff going across the street, hypothetically.
Yeah.
Would have the straw wattles there, which are just a lot less invasive into the existing. So I didn't know if there's a specific spot that, just with the silt fence, it's obviously a lot more involved.
Yeah.
And it's a long stretch, but.
Yeah, that area, that parking lot, it's, not a gigantic parking lot or anything, but it is, there's that extra buffer zone and stuff. I'm comfortable with not having it.
Yeah, I'm comfortable
Additional
with
stuff right
a
there.
site survey by Abigail to see if there is something she wants added or whatever. You can
Yeah.
work with her on that.
Perfect. Yeah, we can
Just let's
meet and
try
go
to
through
apply
that.
some Common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that works. So I'll plan to meet with Abigail and we'll go through it. Perfect.
You okay with that, Abigail? Perfect.
All right. If there's no more discussion from the commission, this is a public hearing. I will give anybody who wants to speak a moment to get up and ask any questions or make any comments. But not seeing anybody, could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I make that motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And do I have a motion to approve the notice of intent as discussed at this meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Just one thing to mention, I think it might just be clerical for the order. I saw on the agenda, we were under 305-1209. I believe our number is 1210.
Oh.
And I think the person following me I think they just were swapped, but just for the,
Oh, all right.
perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for that. All right. Next item on the agenda is agenda item D, public hearing, notice of intent, Jack Whitehouse, 45 Pine Street, assessors map 45, lot 54, DEP file number 305-1210. And Mr. Gove is recusing himself. All right. If you could just introduce yourself, and then the floor is yours.
Hello, for the record, I'm Mira Cousins with Civil Design Consultants. So we were here at the last meeting to discuss the proposed single-family house located at the newly subdivided lot with an address of 45 Pine Street. So at that meeting, the commission requested that we provide a tree removal plan, which we have included in the updated plan set. So we went out to the site, we staked out the limit of work area, and located all trees within that boundary with a caliper greater than 6 inches that are proposed for removal. Just a reminder, no work is proposed within the 25-foot no disturb zone, and the house and driveway is located outside the 50-foot no build zone. Additionally, I want to emphasize that 91% of the lot area, which is approximately 3.3 acres, will remain undeveloped, will remain as is. So the project will result in minimal disturbance relative to the overall lot size. I provided another ortho image of the site so we can put it in context. I'll just flip over the plan. So just for reference, this dashed line here is the lot area. It's approximately 160,000 square feet. And this here is the limit of work area, and this is the house. So the rest of the site will remain forested, wooded. So with that, happy to take any questions.
Yeah, I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. I appreciate you doing the more in-depth tree removal plan. Just out of curiosity, what is the majority type of tree over there? Is it white pine?
Type, I'm not an arborist, I don't know the details.
I think there's a lot of pine.
Pine,
Yeah.
correct, yeah.
All right.
Which are kind of quite dangerous, really.
Yeah, it's,
Problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the selective tree removal, hopefully that's going to prevent other trees from coming down. And
Correct. We're going to be placing erosion controls.
What was that?
We're going to be placing erosion controls along the limit of work area. I know Abigail, she'll probably come for like a pre-construction site visit. You know, she can verify that's in place prior to tree removal.
All right. I'm all done with my questions. If the commission has any questions.
No, I'm good.
I was just wondering, how big is this yard?
How big?
Yeah, like how many, it seems like there's a lot of yard. And was there thought in making that smaller to save some of those trees?
So the main reason is mainly to tie into the existing grades. It's relatively flat out there, so that was the only reason why we had to expand that yard area. It's to tie into, I think it's that 119 contour that you see on either side of the house. It's just to tie into the existing grades.
Also, there's the catch basins. We discussed it last meeting. It's just they're going to be improved.
Correct.
Can you briefly go over that again about?
Yeah, so we know there's some flooding issues in the cul-de-sac, and I think because the rims of those catch basins weren't set according to the design plans, it was like at grade, so it wasn't really capturing runoff, so it was just flooding there. So what we plan on doing is regrading that area, so it's actually going to go into the catch basins. So hopefully that alleviates all the flooding issues in the cul-de-sac.
Awesome. All right, if there's no more discussion from the commission, and before I open it up to the public, I am going to read off some special conditions. Conditions may include Permanent wetland boundary signs to be installed along limit of work every 50 to 100 feet. No activity shall occur past these signs. Activities including walking, operation, or storage of equipment, vegetation removal, digging, or additional fill. The applicant shall install and maintain perimeter controls around the area of work to prevent the deposition of debris into nearby resource areas. Perimeter controls shall remain in place until all areas of erodible materials have been stabilized at the site. These controls shall act as a limit of work. No equipment can be stored or work done past that point. Prior to any construction activities commencing, the following must be completed. ESCs shall be installed by the applicant or an agent of the applicant. The conservation agent shall inspect and approve of the installed ESCs, and ESCs shall consist of entrenched silt fencing and stake straw wattles. Trees to be removed beyond what is already specified in the approval plans may be considered for removal in accordance with the following conditions. Approval must be received from the conservation agent. Prior to the end of activity, all exposed soil must be stabilized. Following all construction activities, a site visit must be concluded by the conservation agent to inspect the tree line. And 7, a copy of the wetland delineation for this property must be included in the closing documents for conveyance. Are we all set with that?
Yes.
All right. And so this is a public hearing. If there's anybody in the public who would like to get up and make a comment, now is the time to do so. I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure the only people here are the applicant. So I will take a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. And could I have a motion to approve the notice of intent as discussed at this meeting?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. You just barely made it by.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Is Steve still out there? Can we call him in? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right, emergency item, agenda item E, emergency certification for Marina Joaquin, 44 California Road, Assessors Map 82, Lot 69. This was briefly touched upon in a previous meeting. This is for the removal of 6 trees, is that what 5? And they've already taken these trees out. You don't know?
I'm unclear if they've taken them out yet, but a condition was that they'd have to have a post-removal meeting with me before they could cut anything else down.
All right, but we have an arborist letter from Marquis stating that these are basically dead and dying trees that create a human safety risk. Is there any discussion on this emergency cert?
I have none.
If there's no discussion, I will entertain a motion to ratify the emergency certification.
I make that motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. All right, admin reports, we have one for 30 Germano Drive and Long Pond Pool Party. Could you fill us in on the details, Abigail?
All right, so I reached out to 30, 40, and 50 Germano Drive. 30 Germano Drive responded immediately. I had their email address on file from Joe's Files, and I had a site visit with them, and they've planted several trees. They plan to go overseas for the foreseeable future, but they said that they'd be back in about 8 months, and so when they come back, I'll have another site visit with them to ensure that everything's growing in properly, but there are photos attached so you can see that they have definitely planted them, but they're teeny tiny little ones, so we'll check them out in the fall, give them a little chance to grow, unless there's any other action the commission would like me to take on that.
And you didn't hear from?
I heard from, his name is John, I believe he's from 50 Germano Drive. I heard from him, and he said we'd schedule a site visit when the snow melts it a little bit. So it's on my list to reach back out once that snow melts. But I've not.
Say he had planted something?
Yes, yeah. And I've not heard back from I believe it's 40, but I could be getting 40 and 15 mixed up.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to figure out something to do with the, like, part of me thinks that this is, you know, I like to see the tree, the saplings are there and stuff, but it's, you know, I would have rather the trees not be cut down at all. Hopefully, if this is adequate for everybody, the last Germano Drive person realizes that it's not a huge ask. We're not asking to replant, you know, 100-year-old oaks or anything, and they can get on board with.
You know, not that it's our jurisdiction, do you think maybe we should recommend that the property be clearly labeled, owned by the town of Tewksbury? You know what I'm saying? It's just like we,
Doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
correct. I mean, you know, we could maybe go to the condo association and say, hey, could you please end of property or?
Yeah, because it's a weird, it's not wetland jurisdiction, but it is our jurisdiction because
Correct. I mean-
it's been deeded to us.
So could we find a, you know, like a tentative boundary line and put a stake, you know, like a
Yeah.
marker of, you
Yeah,
know, I'm just trying to be a little bit proactive here instead of,
yeah, because,
we seem to be going through, not to interrupt you, be going through, everyone's just cutting shit down, cutting stuff down
gonna be on
and
the
begging,
minutes.
and begging for forgiveness.
yeah.
And I kind of want to stop that. I don't know how you people feel.
Yeah, like we routinely, you know, request that, or not even request, we demand that people put on, you know, wetland boundaries. So this is pretty similar. I mean, you know, I do think that there's, you know, to give the Germano Drive people a little bit of credit, like this is not the typical, you know, area where it was clearly defined. Like there's a rock wall, if I remember. So they thought that the land on one side of the rock wall was theirs, on the other side it's not. So it's actually like, I don't know, 10, 20, however many feet inland, you know, from the rock wall. But, you know, something delineating that like, this is where you're not supposed to, I'd be totally.
Right, my thought is, you put something there that people read and go, huh, you know?
And yeah, and it doesn't have to
And
be
if
a
a tree company-
gigantic fence or anything.
And the tree
but-
company was the one who removed those
Yeah.
trees. So if you put it, as Abigail was talking about, most of the vendors, a meet and greet, you know, you see, you know, I'm just trying to protect future endeavors. And $100 worth of posts and signs could really,
Yeah,
I bet you we spent that in the town attorney reading letters. Just
Yeah.
an FYI.
I've put it on my list. I'll look into it the next couple weeks.
Something,
Yeah.
you know, just to create it
Okay.
obvious. You put a sign there, if they ignore the sign, well,
Okay.
all right. And then the Long Pond Pole Party, is there any new information on that?
So, I am hoping that you will all agree to a date. I was thinking, so we're working with Water and Wetland, we have a current contract with them, and they have been amazing, willing to work with us on this item specifically. So they suggest that the best time to do this is in early July. I was hoping to do a Saturday. I would think that more people would attend if it was not on a weekday. So July 5th is certainly out of the question. I don't think a lot of people will be here for that. But I was thinking July 12th. They are willing to work around that. They do go in and they hand pull the same invasive that we're looking to pull. So they said that they would hold off doing that so that there would be, you know, stuff for us to pull, and then they'll monitor it when they come out later in the month.
All right. You said July 12th?
July 12th.
Was there a time, early morning? or-
Thinking 9 AM. I just don't want anyone to get too hot out.
Excuse me, there's a 9 AM?
On Saturdays, I know.
I'm gonna have to investigate this.
As long as the commission's okay with that, I'll kind of start things in motion for that day.
Pencil it in, I mean.
Yeah.
Excellent. Awesome, sounds great.
I don't have a schedule, so I can't admit to anything.
That's okay.
But
It's pretty far into the future, so.
Excellent.
yeah, tomorrow's sketchy, right?
Awesome, thank you.
All right.
Thank you. That's a great idea.
Yeah. All right, before I ask for an adjournment, next meeting is February 19th, 2025. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Thank you very much.